Welcome to Rauta's opinion video. Today's topic is: does the artist, the musician, have responsibility, liability and all that stuff for his words, actions, ideas, ideals and beyond that? Now this is a topic that I recently, like a couple of months ago, I was following a discussion among some music journalists and reviewers and other people in the music industry doing their stuff as a hobby or full-time job about this particular topic. Like, if you are a big artist, do you have a certain kind of a responsibility what you're saying? Now obviously some people are gonna say, fuck yeah. I mean, after all, if you are this public figure, you're kind of supposed to give deeper thought into whatever you were about to say. And of course some people are like, fuck no. I mean, you're a free spirit, a free individual if you will, and you're able to say or allowed to say whatever you think, whatever comes to your mind, however you feel about this and that and all that stuff. Now, given the very nature of this question or topic, it's kind of clear that people will have their opinions divided into two camps. There are people who will be saying like, okay, because of this, well, I don't want to repeat myself, but I mean, people will be divided into these two camps and taking their foxholes and then digging deeper to just like, okay, I was saying this, I am right because reasons list this and that. But it gets more complicated. I mean, let's say you're nobody. Because, I mean, most of us are nobodies. Nobody gives a damn what I say here. Maybe some will give a damn about some review, but mostly I'm a nobody as much as guy to the next. Let's be honest about it. Over here, we are not celebrities. We're just metalheads trying to dig some metal music. Maybe sometimes we read an important interview or watch maybe an interview and listen to this, whatever this musician is saying. More importantly, we might be actually following some statements, be it a press release, or maybe some live speeches, words said at a gig or a festival, or maybe there is something that is written in the lyrics or liner notes on an album, and we get those words that come before our eyes and then just kind of a drill in our heads, and then things start to happen. And obviously I'm not talking about underground music. I'm more referring to bigger artists, more to the mainstream audience and mainstream artists rather than the small timers. I mean, like I said, it doesn't really matter what some band with some 500, maybe even 5,000 followers says, because I mean, most of the audience will take whatever is being said with a grain of salt or doesn't even read whatever the artist in question is saying, let alone what he's, writing in the lyrics or making those statements on social media or whatever. But as you have these rather big artists, bigger bands with bigger following, cult following, or just because if it's a mainstream artist, things became, a little bit different. I'm not saying the rules as such are different because obviously there is no law, not in universal sense that after you've gotten a certain amount of followers, maybe 100,000 people, maybe 1 million, and then you can really say things like that. But let's be honest about it. We all should be responsible for whatever we say, whatever we are expressing here, be it on YouTube, be it on Facebook, be it on, a bigger music release. I mean, there you have gatekeepers, the editors, which might be just, decidedly taking some parts out of your question. I mean, if they're not so likely to, for example, give you a free pass for hate speech or slurs or just outright stupid things which might get them into legal trouble. I don't know how different media operate. They probably have different sets of rules and all that stuff, but everybody in the press business, so to say, should have certain kind of a code of conduct which to follow, and that it's basic information. But when we're talking about beyond what happens in regular interviews, like whatever say certain given artist makes a on his own social media page, where does the line go? Where is drawn that what can you say and what you shouldn't say but you can say, and so forth. For example, I mean, there are laws in many countries nowadays, for example, against hate speech. But beyond the scope of, of being these, or these words, which are not necessarily illegal, but might be somewhat harmful. I mean, where does the responsibility go? Certainly, if you're a stupid an artist and you go just blurting out with whatever you feel like at the moment, doesn't matter if you're under substance effects or maybe drunk or whatever, you still shouldn't say certain kind of things because, the label might decide, okay, you went too far, it's time to say bye-bye. For some people, this could be a blessing in disguise, but it doesn't really go all that simple, in every case anyway. So, back to the original question. Where does this go, this drawn line? What can you say, what you shouldn't say? I mean, let's put it this way. You are quite a big an artist, and you have the certain kind of following, and some of these fans are really fanatic, as per the word fan. Not just buying your everyday CD or going to your gigs or maybe wearing your merchandise, but getting them all, copying and pasting your stuff to other news sites, chat forums or social media pages. Like, okay, my favorite artist said that you shouldn't do beep and you shouldn't do boop, and because you're beep, you should do beep. You get the idea. I'm not gonna name any of these given artists because, well, first of all, it's just, making all this topic way too divided and giving you certain kind of ideas or names which could be leading to some other things which I don't want to even go to. It's kind of a rabbit hole, really. But the point here is, I find this topic very, very interesting. I mean, say you were a big band, like a big metal band of the whatever genre, and you start saying certain kind of things, well, people will follow that. Some will decide, okay, we're gonna ignore the band from now on. I'm not gonna spend my dimes on that or whatever. And some people are just gonna go crazy because some people say that. And that's basically something that applies to all kind of celebrities or influencers. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're an actor, if you're a big YouTube star, if you're reality TV personality, or just famous for other reasons. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. I mean, people are following whatever you do. And some people are clearly taking notes, whatever you say, in which context you say them, in which hidden meaning you're going to say them, which kind of a secret messages you're going to put into, or whatever there is written between the lines, or like Slayer put it, written between the lies. Now, that's why when you get bigger, it's kind of, it gets harder what to say, what not to say, what should you say. And that's where PR people come in. And it kind of feels so wrong when you're talking about metal music, because people are like, yeah, metal is rebellion. Metal is about free will. Metal is about breaking the boundaries, making their own rules. It's like a clan of chaos and anarchy and all that stuff. Survival of the fittest or whatever. And what people don't really realize, it's like, okay, there are guys way bigger, the powers that be, who dictate whatever metal bands get to do and what they don't. Metal bands, especially the smaller ones, may feel like they're, free of these boundaries and restrictions and all, because, well, they're underground, they're, extreme. But then again, they're small-time players. Nobody gives a damn what band with some 300 followers say. It doesn't matter how many vinyl or CD or tape editions you have out, because nobody's really, literally, following whatever you say. It's like my videos. Only like 2 people on earth give a damn what I say. But still, I kind of have to remember my responsibility. I don't want to, you to make crimes, for instance. I don't want to make myself, linked to whatever you stupid things you might do. I mean, personally, I might not judge, but really, I don't want to take responsibility whatever you are doing, just because you maybe read some of my comments or, listen to what I said. And listen to maybe in a wrong way, Maybe you misunderstood what I said and so forth. I'm only using myself as an example here because, well, I'm doing this video. But the real pointer, like this way, goes to the bigger bands, which are there with this massive following. And you really have to be an insane person to just get kind of deluded and go weird ways because whatever some bands say. So once again, back to the original topics, where you draw the line, what can you say and what you should say. Because even in metal, even though metal music is not that big a genre of music or different styles of music, even there are lots of bands like, bands like Metallica size, Iron Maiden size, Judas Priest and all, which then again tend to have this bigger following. And that might be sometimes connected to whatever censorship there might be. I mean, there was a little bit of talk about the European version of Cannibal Corpse latest album. Why didn't have lyrics? Only some, drawn things there. And why it did have this more censored version of the cover. And these are all, well, more or less linked and related to some other things which are like something like it's forbidden because you might get legal problems. It's forbidden or censored because some shops might be saying like, okay, we're not gonna sell it. It's too brutal. It's too vulgar. It's too raw. It's too violent. It's advocating something bad shit and all that stuff. Now we all might remember things what happened in the 80s and 90s. This explicit lyric and whatever kind of content. Sometimes it was because of violence. Sometimes because it was too graphic in terms of sex and whatever, or related to substance abuse, illegal or otherwise, and etc. The list goes on. And back in the days, it might be a really cool thing to be having this, explicit content kind of a warning. But what if your band is being banned? I mean, what if you're like, okay, no access? Cannibal Corpse had this problem with their early albums. Some countries wouldn't allow them because they're too brutal and all that stuff. Back in the days, might be okay. Rotting Cries, for example, got into trouble just because of their name, etc. And this is just a name. These are just lyrics. What if these artists start to say, especially in the era of social media and internet? You have to remember, back in the early 90s or 80s, you didn't really have this problem. You really didn't have these channels where artists could go drunk on social media, like, you didn't like my album, I'm gonna shoot your brains out. And even forget about it next day until the amount of fans are being upset, like, how can you say that? Okay, this is a threat, take it to the police and all that stuff. Okay, this might be an extreme example, but there are things that sometimes a known artist can go very far, whatever statements and words being said. Sometimes it's really cool that they don't give a damn, and sometimes it's just plain crazy, and sometimes it's just, illegal. And because of fans stay like, okay, they did their really cool thing, I'm gonna do it also, I'm gonna go a little bit further. Or remember how Beatles vocalist got killed? Celebrity thing. There are so many crazy people, so there definitely has to be a certain kind of a responsibility. But where does it go? Where is the limit? Where is that limit supposed to be drawn? Who can say what? Is it scalable by the popularity of your own thing, whatever it is, band, or because you're author of a book? Once again, these are tricky questions. My metal side inside of myself, and the rebellious side would say there shouldn't be no limits. You just have to have the common sense, what to say and what not. But when you bring in the labels, when you bring in social media and all these responsibilities and liabilities and all that stuff, it gets kind of a bit complicated. So for example, if my channel had 1 million followers, I don't know why it would have, but let's play a game here. Go theoretic. If I had that, should I be more conscious of what to say, what kind of topics I would be talking about? Could I be talking about NSPM if this was 1 million people follow a channel? Or should I just go more the family-friendly content? To be honest, I don't know. I really don't know, don't like the idea that I would have been more family-friendly. Especially because, for example, on YouTube, you can pretty much choose that stuff like, okay, this content is not for kids or all that stuff. But you can't really make the same thing with music. You can't really go, okay, put this in the record store where it's like 15 years and older or whatever. You can say this is only for people who don't have mental issues. Because that is kind of a very close to burning books kind of a thing. Okay, this is fiction which is too dangerous. Burn it. These CDs, burn them. These vinyl. Okay, you get the idea. It's very kind of an Orwellian dystopian idea that once you go too far about controlling the content, art, if you will, you are very close to becoming a society which is just this big brother thing, and nobody wants to have that, except maybe the powers that be. So it's very, very complicated. You kind of want to be this artist, and you want to be able to express your ideals and whatever goes in your mind, because it's your art. So if you want to make an album about, suicides and cutting your flesh, you should be able to do that. But does it really go too far if you go on social media like, okay, I just cut my head, you should do it as well? And some younger innocent audience, which is maybe not filled with that common sense, goes as well and does that and dies. Like there has been these kind of a TikTok weird challenges for kids who don't understand it. So these responsibility issues, it's kind of a hard topic. Nobody wants to go there and, draw the line except for people who are fanatics in the first place. It gets really, really tricky. And of course, this doesn't really concern most people out there. I mean, your own band is probably too small to don't even have to bother about it. But these are also related to things when a band becomes more commercial success. So do they suddenly start censoring their own, backprints of a t-shirt just because the label is like, nope, you don't want to go there? Or just because they're like, okay, this would be a commercial suicide if we go that far? Or do we want that danger? I don't know. If you get your gigs cancelled because of certain people who want to cancel your problematic band, or because of your problematic opinions or whatever, well, there you have it. A culture of cancellation. Maybe we should just cancel human race and we wouldn't have to answer to these questions. But responsibility, where does the line go? What is your opinion? I'm keen to hear about it, and more about that. Just give me lines, reasons why not. Where you draw the line and why. And for what? What kind of society are we building? Anarchy and chaos, or Big Brother 1? Or something maybe in the middle. Who knows? Who even cares? We have booze and titties, yay. Okay, rant over. Looking forward to hear your opinions and comments about this topic. It's a hot topic, but that's why it's so interesting, right? Or am I mistaken? Should we do just reviews and not talk about anything serious? There you have it. Thanks for watching, take care, and remember to subscribe to the channel and turn those goddamn notifications on. See ya until next video. Jerry out.